Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. I hope everybody had a really great weekend. I know there's been a lot of fun things going on. It's summer. I'll tell you, I've talked to a lot of my agents, and they're on the lakes. They're having a blast, which is kind of what we're expecting right now, knowing that we have the AEP and OEP coming up. And we have a lot of things that we need to get ready for. So I thought we would start kind of getting us ready for that mindset and looking into setting appointments and effectively doing that. With that being said, here's a pretty good quote we can start with. Your mission, again, is to break down your prospects' resistance to an appointment by challenging them to think differently about their problems and priorities. So that is one of the things when it comes to appointment setting is even though you only have that client on the phone for 2 or 3 minutes, how do you get them to think? How do you get them to problem solve? How do you get them to try something new? So that's kind of what we're going to jump in today. So for those of you that haven't been on one of these, happy Motivation Monday, we're going to go through what our layout is. So we start with a tip of the week. We're going to take a look at some of the trends that are going on so you have an idea of what people are selling. We take a look at our sales leaders, which I'll tell you, we have one of them. She has been on the top every day outside of open enrollment. And then we have sales techniques, which is what we're going to talk about as well. So tip of the week for the previous week, I will tell you coming up this week tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow we have Are You Ready for AEP? That is going to start us talking about Medicare. We have our fantastic Medicare trainer that we hired for you guys. Her name is Tammy Stencil. She is hosting a Medicare Are You Ready for It? 2 webinars. So sign up for them. If you don't know where to sign up, go to ahcpsales.com. Take a look at the training section, and that is where you can go to sign up for them. The tip of the week for this week, I think everybody should have seen this email, but what is going on is that now there's these new effective date rules for NatGen. Before we had so many limitations with them. And since this is the carrier that we sell the most of, I thought it'd be important for us to talk about it. We can now have policies start on the 29th, 30th, and 31st, where before we could only do the 1st through the 28th. So if you are one of those people, which is almost every one of us, who are selling those NatGen short terms back to back, the 3x2s as we like to call them, you can now have those start on the 29th, 30th, and 31st where we couldn't before. The Plan Enhancer, they're really famous AME that we sell a ton of. Their critical illness or cancer, heart, stroke, dental indemnity, the AFB, and the hospital expense protection can now all start on those dates. So take a look. It's going to open up your selling a lot more. Unfortunately today is the 31st, so it means tomorrow's the 1st, so you can't really play with it. But with us getting closer to open enrollment, this could be very big and could really greatly increase our income. So just wanted to throw that out there, let everybody here know that the new effective date rules for NatGen have changed. So that is the tip for the week. Now we're going to jump into the trends. So the trends this week are going to be boring, my friends. This is going to be not the most exciting trend. Let me just throw them all up. No change in short term, still leading with NatGen. No change in fixed benefit. I think we actually sold one less policy, which is normal, I guess, this time of year with all of us being at the lake or being by the beach, which is where I was this weekend. No change in the accident sales, so really leading with that Healthy America. It's absolutely fantastic. With fixed benefit, take a look at the VBA if you haven't done that yet. We did have an increase, though, in critical illness. Good old CBL, our good friends there at CBL, we are leading with that. And in the end, we, of course, have no change in dental, leading with Golden Rule. So taking a look at the trends, no change. I'm sorry, I told you guys it'd be kind of dull. This should be a quick one this week. So our shout-outs as far as it goes with the limited benefits. So we are going to start with Katya as usual. Congratulations. Sold 7 Foundations Health and 2 hospital expense protections. A week before, I believe she sold 13. So she's doing it right, Andrew Orlikoff, as well as Robert Swander. So good job, you 3. Leading the charge as far as it goes with limited benefit. Andrew, I know he had almost his all-time record week with those. So taking a look at our short term. Grammy Bag, leading that, Katya, and then Andrew as well, leading our short-term sales. So we have our sales leaders to the names you've seen over and over and over and over and over. Let's step up to the plate and let's take them down. No offense, you 2. We love you to death, but you know what? We're going to take you down. So taking a look at what people are selling, it looks like we're mainly selling the NatGen as far as those trends goes. Critical illness, we lead with VBA. Our sales leaders are kicking it, just knocking things out of the park. So let's get into our favorite part, which is going to be the sales technique. So to let everybody know, I was in a conference last week in Florida, actually. And I was talking to some accident and health agents, and we started going through, what was going on, what things have happened. And one of them who's actually a personal friend of mine, was telling me about kind of some of his horror stories, right? And I brought up, hey, you know what? I want to talk about appointment setting next week. This is something that I think is very important. And he has a great show rate now. When I first brought him into the industry, his show rate was garbage, absolute garbage. And I said, you know what? I'd like to pick your mind. I'd like to share what you're doing with a few people and figure out how we can increase show rate for people across the board, okay? So got some good information, picked some people's brains, but let's just talk about the show rate. So we've talked a lot about the funnel, right? So everybody, what do we want here? We really just want to make a sale, right? That's our goal. We just want to make a sale. Well, let's talk statistics. Let's talk numbers. If you haven't thought about it this way, this will actually be kind of interesting. So to do one sale, you need to have 2 pitches, okay? For you to make one sale, and that could be 5 products, 2 products, even one just 30-day short term, you need to have 2 pitches on average. It says on average, you're going to close every other person you're actually allowed to pitch. As far as it goes with appointments, setting 5 appointments, less than half show on average, right? Less than half show. And to get 5 appointments, it should say out of every 10 calls you make, you should have an appointment, right? Not saying it's a strong appointment, you should have an appointment. Out of those 10 calls, or out of 50 calls, you'll have 5. Out of 5, you'll have 2 pitches. And out of 2 pitches, you're only going to have 1 sale. So if we can increase any part of the funnel, what part do we actually control? We control the call part, but if we can make ourselves more effective, as I like to say, work smarter, not harder. If we can work smarter, we can actually increase the bottom. So the big thing we want to take a look at here is going to be those appointments. So if you think every 50 calls are going to get you 1 sale, and you might say, hey, it actually takes me 100. I heard that one actually when I was going through some statistics with one of the agents. He goes, it takes me 100 calls. I'm like, yeah, maybe you should take a look at what you're doing on those calls, make yourself a little more effective, or take a look at how you're doing leads, which are all things that we've talked about. But I said, you could take a look at how you're talking to people, right? So the first thing about what it takes to get an appointment, contacts. It's been said that only 2% of cold calls actually result in an appointment, meaning really that it takes a ton of calls and a ton of leads to get that job done. So if you're talking 2%, small things can make a big impact on both your expenses for buying leads, but also just in general, your commissions, right? So let's just we're going to talk a little bit about the front end, then we're going to talk about when you actually have the client on the phone, okay? So right away, increase contacts, right? So call in off hours. Good agent friend of mine, he goes, I call every day at 11 or at 10, I call every day at 2. I'm like, great, okay. He has the most contacts he's ever made at 10 o'clock. We did tick sheets, we put it in Excel, we took a look, he was 100% right? Really effective time. But for those people that you can't get a hold of at 10 o'clock, and he was Central Time, just to let you know, 10 o'clock CST, try off hours, right? Maybe 10 o'clock is a great hour, maybe 9 a.m., maybe 3 in the afternoon, maybe sometime at night. When are people sitting there bored? I will tell you the most likely time to contact people who are bored are going to be people who are, maybe in an office environment it's after lunch. They're kind of bored. I know we all work for ourselves. That's what we do. But you need to call people on off hours, times when you don't think they're busy. So one thing, as we're just going to start talking away right now, one of the things that you need to get across from people is, if we're talking about changing mindset, is how you've helped others. Your first goal is to help the customer. Prospects will instantly resist setting an appointment with you if they think that you're in it just for you. If you sound desperate on the phone, if you sound like you're not really interested in helping them, that you're just interested in making another tick on your board, right in the first seconds there, with your first contact, you need to exude service, not selfishness. That's the first thing. So again, if you're in it for yourself, they're going to turn you off right away. Because the second you open your mouth, I will tell you right now, the prospect is already in defense mode. That's a big one. Your pitch should be selfless, more of a, hey, I'm here to help you. Instead of, hey, you know what, I'm going to sell you right now. That's going to make them run. So a big tip as well. So we're talking about just increasing your contacts. We'll go through kind of what a few things agents have done, but call on off hours, tell them how you helped others, and then don't sound threatening to the gatekeeper. This is the one I hear over and over and over. I hate talking to the gatekeeper. I think it's kind of fun personally. I've been doing sales for quite some time. The gatekeeper is when I actually get to start doing sales, right? People say, well, I like it when I get an objection because I want to take my big hammer and hit them over the head. Well, the way I sell, I actually don't get a lot of objections, honestly. Where I have the part where I get to be my salesman is actually going to be the gatekeeper. So if you sound threatening or salesy to the gatekeeper, be it that the husband, the wife, the secretary, the assistant, you need to start with why you're calling and inquire about that you're just here to help. Here's the thing that helped me a lot. I actually got to know the gatekeepers, talked about them a little personally, like, hey, it sounds like it's been a busy day at the office. I've called a few times and no one's really answered. Is it just that kind of time of the season for you? And, get them talking, make it about them, right? Okay. Gatekeepers, let's be honest, they're beasts. So if you know it's a business number, just get ready for the gatekeeper. Try to get the cell, just don't be creative, don't lie, but get to know the gatekeeper, make it a little more personal, okay? So here's the thing. So you're going to get them on the phone, right? You're going to try to get past the gatekeeper. You're going to get to know them, and they're going to say, I really don't have time to talk to you right now, okay? We get that, okay? People have said things like, hey, you know what? Give me about 3 or 4 minutes right now. Let's find a time where we can talk, sit down, and I could probably save you about 20 to 30% on your health insurance, right? If you're just talking about, hey, you know what I could do? I could switch you from a major medical to a short term. Even by paying the penalty, you're going to save a lot of time. That's okay. So one of the biggest things that can help them decide between an appointment showing or not showing, the first one is make them remember. This is going to be kind of a multi-level hint, okay? Here's my favorite thing with that. I always give them 2 choices. I even do this with my friends. Unfortunately, they have caught on. It's not the best thing out there. I give them 2 choices and I let them pick one. Like, hey, you know what? I have a time available at 2 o'clock on Thursday, or I have a 11 a.m. on Friday, which is going to work best for you. And I probably wouldn't use just 11 and 2. I'd be like 11:15 or 2 o'clock. Give them kind of off times, right? Let them pick. Then you're going to put the power back in their hands. I told you guys 100 times, adults hate being told what to do. So if we can avoid telling them what to do and let them pick, I'm going to put the power back in their hands, and I'm going to tell you it's going to greatly increase the short. It's going to say, I picked this time. They didn't. They say, hey, I picked this time. It's ownership. You're changing ownership from you onto them. Have them write it down. If you do not do this, do it. It's super fun. I would say most salespeople do this, but I'll just let you guys know what it is. Hey, grab a pen and paper. Half of you probably went to go do it. If you tell people to do that, surprisingly, they do. Like, okay, so I'm gonna have you write something down, grab a pen and paper, and you can hear them rustle for it, okay? If you don't hear a rustle, this is what I do. So, hey, my name's Dan. I'm the health insurance guy. I go through what, my number is, what time we're gonna meet. I'm like, okay, so if you can just repeat it back, because I know my number's confusing. And then they can't. So either you're gonna call them out on it because they're not gonna show in the first place. You might make them a little awkward so they can show. And here's my favorite one. You let them know you're busy. If they're not sitting there trying to actually care about it, it's my busiest time of year. I'm really getting ready for open enrollment. I have options that people can buy outside of open enrollment that save a ton of time. So that's why I only have this 2:15 appointment available. Give them homework as well. Tell them to look for their policy. Tell them to find their ID card if you have to, Tell them to think about times that they've used it. Go through some creative ways to give them homework. They're writing things down, give them something to do. Make them think, make them have some type of ownership or some priority in it. Here's the one that you should actually do. Have them realize. So you're saying, I can get people on the phone, we start talking, they try to shut me down. This is what one of my agents does. He makes a ton of money, might ask. He really goes, okay, quickly, what start date are you looking for? Okay. They're like, what? Like, okay, so I know you obviously put your information in online. What start date are you looking for that plan to start? They're like, oh, I'm looking for the 15th of next month. Wow. Okay, so the 15th. Yeah, honestly, that's approaching fast. We really need to get this moving if that's something you're looking to do. He asked them the start date. I thought that was really, really interesting. He goes, what? I've tried finances. I've tried saying, like, here's deductibles. I've tried talking about specific plans. He goes, but start date, it's something everybody can understand. So write that one down, guys. Try to ask him about the preferred start date. Maybe ask him about savings as well, as we started talking about it. He goes, I asked him about the preferred start date, and I also ask, how much are you looking to save? People laugh and say free. He's like, yeah, I get that, but like, how much are you looking to save? Like, what makes insurance affordable? And they'll say, hey, like maybe $100 a month. He's like, okay, gotcha. Well, here's the 2 times that I have available, and he just moves on from that. So he doesn't. He kind of, I don't want to call it fishing. That's a bad word, but he kind of does, right? He's like, hey, I'm going to throw out a little bit, and I'm going to take it back from you. So here's what I have, but you can't have it. He goes, they love it. They show up because they tell me exactly how much they want to save. So try those ones. I talked to another agent. This is one of them that he says. He's a little older. He has been around for quite some time, which is one thing I absolutely love about him. He has a wealth of knowledge. He goes, when people try to resist, he goes, I know you put your name in online. Why? And he shuts up. The Zig Ziglar, shut up, right? He loves it. He says that's really effective. He asks them why. He's like, just an open-ended question, why? Also let them know, again, you're busy. It's your time of year. We know we have AEP coming up so quick. We're going to have all of our Medicare training coming up next month. We're going to have the carrier training the month after. We have to get ourselves moving. If people are sitting there wasting our time, they're wasting our time, right? Let them know about, again, as we talked about before, you're busy. Ask them about the preferred start date, ask them about savings, and say that they put their name in online. Ask why. Here's one thing that sounds kind of stupid, but it's the truth. You need to be prepared, right? I have a lot of agents who say, you know what, this is what I do. I get ready, I get my coffee ready, I have everything down. Okay, you're physically prepared. That's great. Are you mentally prepared? In the beginning, when I first started selling eons ago, that was one of the things I wasn't always good at. I'd physically be there, I'd physically be ready, but I wasn't mentally there, okay? You have to be ready for objections. You want to play the objection game? I know we all do. We love it. Now's the time to play the objection game. In the beginning, right? I have to talk to my wife. I don't know if I can make it. Get prepared for those objections. Those ones are fun. Don't let reschedules get you down as well, okay? Reschedules are normal. It takes more than one reschedule just to make a sale, so that's okay. Send a reminder email, but if you are going to do it, let them know, like, hey, you know what? You're going to get an email from me. It's going to have our time, and then also what you need to bring to this appointment. And here's the biggest one. It sounds really stupid. Don't be afraid to ask for the appointment, right? People are trying to brush you off the phone. Don't be afraid to ask. Asking can never hurt because guess what? They're already giving you a no. What's the harm in having a second no? There isn't one. So as far as it goes, with this, you get ready for your no-shows and your no sales, okay? So no-shows are part of the appointment. On average, 25% of meeting schedules are considered no-shows. So generally speaking, 50% of these no-shows can be rescheduled, meaning you can save 12%. That's huge if you think about it. 12% of your leads, if you could increase that, that's monstrous. This is a simple part of the process. Don't get discouraged. Put all your no-shows in a folder so you can be in that right mental mindset to blast through your no-show list, okay? Your no sales as well. People who picked up the phone said they're not interested. Give them a bit of time, right? No sales were my personal favorite. I gave them 90 days. I recommend giving them less time. I was very busy, which is why I picked the 90, but you can give them a little less time. Call up, say, hey, what's changed? You know, the ominous reschedulers, these are my least favorite. These are the persons that you need to tackle, take them down. This is a person you have to get a little parentish with, right? People don't like being told what to do, but that's the person who reschedules 37 times. Maybe the parents never told them what to do. Put on your parent pants and literally tell them exactly what's going on. Like, you need to show up at this time if you want your appointment to start on this date. If you don't, you're just going to be wasting money. Sounds threatening, right? You don't want to be threatening, but hey, they're wasting your time. You don't want to waste your time on the chase. Ominous reschedulers, get parentish with. If that's not something you're doing, I know a lot of people are saying, hey, you know, they're already running away. I want to love them. I want to coddle them. No, get out the big stick, get parentish with them. You know, you're already losing them anyway. You have nothing else that you can do. So these are just some kind of quick hits for you guys. I told you these Motivation Mondays are just there to give you a few hints, let you know what's going on in the market, and give you tips of the week. If you have any questions or anything you specifically want us to cover, feel free to email training@ahcpsales.com. And a pretty good way to end it would be, an educated consumer is our best customer. That's a very powerful one for us, right? If we're going to educate them on the front end, they can become a fantastic customer with tons of referrals. If you need anything, let me know, training@ahcpsales.com. If not, have a great week, everyone.